Welcome back. Now it's time to have some conversations that are happening in your communities, trying to seek answers or find solutions to the problems, because we are because you are watching us this morning. If you want to join the conversation, you can do so via the WhatsApp number 02044470033, or you can also send a WhatsApp message via socials at ChannelOne TVGH. And if you're doing that via X, don't forget to use the hashtag Breakfast Daily, and we'd love to engage with you right here on the show. Quick, our first community story this morning is rather a sad one, because it's about the spillage of sewage water from some parts of Tema, specifically Tema Community 1. We'll take a look at the report shortly. But before we do that, we've seen the rise in numbers of cholera cases, the death tolls, as well as the people that are being affected. Some parts of the central region and eastern regions, which are not too far from Greater Accra. And the whole Ghana at large. And I think 2 weeks ago we talked about the fact that Ghana is very dirty, especially Accra. Just yesterday we were having such conversations, and we are seeing stories of sewage spill. When I saw the report yesterday, it was very disgusting. So I'll just apologize to our viewers before we take a look at the report, because it's very early in the morning. But we need to talk about it, so we will. It was very, very disgusting to think that sewage water is being spilled through markets. This very market is where people go to get their wares, get their foodstuffs, some which you don't even get to boil. For example, like fruits, the most you can do is to wash it in the running water with salt or vinegar, and then you eat. And we are contaminating our meals. People are selling food right in front of the passage of the sewage water.
You know, the deceptive part of the whole challenge, and what does makes it even more challenging, is that if any of this sewage water comes in contact with somebody who is dealing with cooked food, right, the person is the one serving you. Now, because you didn't touch the sewage water, you assume your food is clean. Meanwhile, somebody's been in contact with the sewage water, you know, the filth and the mess and all of that, the flies. And you see, and it doesn't even have to be someone who touches it. It can be the flies who are playing around the mess, the sewage water and the residue that's left there. And then they fly onto the food that is being sold, because it's in the market, right? And so that then becomes the challenge. You know, so really, it's not, we shouldn't trivialize this issue. There's a story on citynewsroom.com. It says cholera outbreak, 719 cases confirmed, 49 dead from cholera, which means we are being killed by our own dirt and our lack of hygiene and our lack of appreciation of what it means to be hygienic and to live as hygienic people. This is what it is. Okay? So the Health Minister has reported, Health Minister Kwabena Minta Akando has reported on the ongoing cholera outbreak, which began over 5 months ago. And it's only getting worse. You haven't been able to nip this in the bud. In previous years, we've done it, you know, but somehow this time it looks as if it's, you know, it's just moving, you know, in one direction. Okay, and it was first reported in October 2024 in Adan West in the Greater Accra region. All right, he stated that as of February 13th, 2025, the outbreak has spread to multiple regions, resulting in 6,145 recorded cases, 719 confirmed cases, and 49 deaths. That's where we are. And so when something comes up like this and you see sewage, and we're going to show it to you in just a moment, when you see the sewage being spilled into the streets, into the market, viewer discretion is advised. It is actually quite disgusting. And to think that there are people in charge of all our spaces, different organizations, different people in charge, and yet this happens. And it goes unchecked for days. It's on and on and on. Let's take a look at this report filed by our colleague and correspondent, Rachel Eman.
As efforts to prevent the spread of cholera continue nationwide, a worsening sanitation crisis in Tema is raising alarms. A major sewage spill near the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, particularly affecting the Tema Community 1 market, has created an unbearable stench. Some shop owners have been forced to close their businesses, while others wear masks to endure the order. Beyond the sewage spill, ChannelOne News observed widespread sanitation issues, including clogged gutters and littered streets, further worsening the already dire situation. Frustrated vendors in the affected areas are demanding immediate intervention.
We that we are sitting here, we are actually managing. It's affecting us though, but we don't have anything to do. It's business we are doing to get something to eat, so that's why we are here today. It's really affecting us. So that's why I'm wearing this nose mask.
I came here last week and I saw that the water was just pouring out, and then I was like, who are the people here, and then how is the place smelling like that? So we're just waiting that somebody will come and assist us. So we are only here doing our business, smelling it, but how for do.
Sent Nanya Kra, and Namukra Makoda Hospital Crab. By far into me cry, send your call me move, media may be who are higher, into sent in a bar. Send your fossil bantina no yedding. Tune to me grant now. A brepa, into no omu no so ball a woman. A ya ball like it to a mubuta support. Never be brave fata.
Speaking to ChannelOne News, the assembly member for the Ashiboy electoral area, Godsway Franklin Jenny, explained that clogged tunnels prompted the assembly to block certain drainage lines to facilitate the clearing process. This, he said, resulted in the major sewage spill near the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. He assured residents that efforts are underway to resolve the issue and restore proper sanitation.
There is a huge problem at the market. The tunnels are choked with rubbish. So the assembly had to block the lines to be able to work on the choked tunnels. That is why, after blocking, that is why there is a spillage at the assembly point. But when they finish working on it and they open it, it will come, it will flow. We've been working on this since Thursday, but the quantum of rubbish in the manhole, that is what has delayed the work. This is a human problem. People dump all sorts of things. There is pad, there is singlets, there is t-shirts, bottles, water bottles, sachet water. All these things are in the manhole. People's sponge and other stuff. It's very bad. This is what is creating all the problem in the market and in the area of Committee 1. Sometimes in even doing with the manhole issue, solving some of the problems, you even see babies, dead babies in the manhole.
This is the situation here near the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, where a major sewage spill has left residents and vendors struggling with a strong stench and serious health concerns. Some shops have closed, while others are forced to wear face masks. Local authorities say the situation is as a result of clogged tunnels. Reporting for ChannelOne News, I am Rachel Engman.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Kudos to Rachel for bringing out this story. It's just, look, I don't know if you are as disgusted as I am, or as we are here. But you know, the man said it's a human problem. And he couldn't have said it better. Because there are also people in charge of Tema. There are people who are in charge of the roads, there are people who are in charge of the spaces, there are people who are in charge of sanitation, there are people who are in charge of... Look, there are people who collect their salary every month and they are in charge of clearing rubbish. How is it that we have gutters, they were calling them tunnels, that are choked, blocked to the extent that it's causing a ripple effect? It is a human problem indeed. I would say it's a leadership problem, not just a human problem. It's a leadership problem. And that's what we need to deal with. As for a human being, if he has to walk 3 miles to go and dump rubbish, and he can dump it, next 2 meters away. Once there are no repercussions for dumping 2 meters away, that's what the human being will do all over the world. That's how human beings behave. However, there are people who have been paid to make sure that human tendency of choosing convenience over sense, you've been paid to deal with the problem of people who want to choose convenience over logic. Fijiva.
Kweku, I'm as disgusted and disappointed as you are, because it's like there's no sense of urgency to treat the issue, and the people who are handling the sewage are not wearing any protective clothing.
You can see them.
Yes, no protective clothing. I saw someone barefooted, some of the spill on his arm and
the person who was holding a spanner trying to tighten some pipe or something. Exactly. The person was bare. It was bare hands. What's our sense of urgency? What's our sense of discipline, of hygiene? All these things come into question. Well, we have joining us on the line. We have Franklin Godsway Ginny. He's an assembly member for Ashiboi electoral area, and we're going to find out from him what his perspective is on the ground. Hello, Franklin. Good morning.
Good morning, Kweku. Good morning, Jifa. How are you all?
Very well, thank you.
How are you?
How are you too?
I'm blessed but sad. Yesterday I had bad news in my lecture area with a 16-year-old lady.
Okay.
A 16-year-old student hanged herself. And we say a very deep condolence to the family. So sorry. What appears to be from your initial understanding of the situation? What appears to be the challenge? What was the person going through? Have you heard anything? I spoke to the father, and a night before, the lady was very okay. It's only for us to wake up in the morning. When she woke up to do her morning usual chores and then ran back to the bedroom. And then they found her hanged herself. The brother said they were changing school for her, but she wasn't happy with it. I don't know if that had necessitated her taking her own life.
I see.
There was no note or anything to.
Yeah. All right.
But the police are handling the issue now.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish you all the best regarding that. But Franklin, let's talk about this challenge that you're experiencing in Tema. The sewage spillage that is, happening, that we saw on our screens. It's very difficult to watch. But just give us the full extent of what appears to be the problem that has brought this about.
Good morning to viewers. Good morning to my electorates that are following us this morning. This sewer issue is a huge problem in Tema. This is one of the many you have witnessed. And I see how traumatized it is for you.
Yeah.
Just imagine being in our shoes, seeing it almost every now and then.
So, frankly, you're saying that there are other cases, apart from what we watched, there are other cases of sewage spilling into the streets in other parts of Tema?
Yes, please. Yes, please. That is the situation. And it's so worrying. Knowing that the cholera outbreak is with us now,
yes,
and some of these things, I think it's a bit worrying. As we speak in my lecture area, site 10, to be precise, there is another spillage there we are working on.
Wow.
Yesterday, the market, Committee 1 market, there was another spillage which we have to work on. And I'm telling you, the quantum of garbage collected from the manhole, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Yesterday's work, a whole Aboboya could not carry the garbage that was taken from one manhole.
Wow.
Then that means that we have a sanitation problem generally in Tema or the market areas where the spillage is happening, if that's the case.
It's not just about the market areas. It's cut across our homes where we live. It's a bit of a problem. The constituents, the citizens are not helping matters. You see,
okay, please, we have a little technical challenge. We'll resolve the ASAP. Yeah, so, Jiva,
right,
what do you think?
What he's saying is a whole community problem. As he rightly said in the report, it's a human problem. That is why, since time memorial, I have been chanting this song that let us bring town council back. Let's bring, if people do not want to just reason, use their senses logically and reason to do the right thing, and you want to be treated, I don't know, like a child, I mean, full-grown adults, you want to be treated like a child, you want to be told what to do before you do the right thing, then if that is what to make people do the right thing and keep our cities clean, let us do it. Because how can we have adults throwing rubbish onto the streets when there's a bin?
Or in gutters.
Yes, when there's a bin.
Which is because of this.
Maybe not too far away from you, but just for the fact that you need to walk some 5 minutes or 2 minutes to access the bin, you'd rather just dump it in the nearby gutter. And look at the ripple effect. We are all suffering it. Sadly, he mentioned that it's not only in Tema Community 1, but some other parts of Tema as well. And we can't continue like this. This is very endangering.
So I hear it's actually quite a common problem for the residents of Tema. And if you happen to live in Tema and you're watching us right now, kindly send us a WhatsApp message, okay? Just share with us how rampant is this challenge. 0204-447-033. Send us a message. How rampant is this problem? Name some of the communities and some of the areas within communities where this challenge is you're experiencing. Franklin has joined us back on Zoom again. Franklin.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My namesake.
Yes. Right. So, Franklin, before you went off, you were just talking about the fact that a lot of rubbish was excavated from one pit, one manhole. Why is it? It appears to me from what the conversation we're having that there's a whole maze of tunnels underneath Tema. And this is part of the challenge in the sense that we haven't developed a culture of keeping our rubbish on the surface. And people try to get rid of bola without paying for it by just throwing it into any hole they can find. And it enters into these tunnels. And this seems to be the challenge. Is my thinking correct?
You cannot be far from the truth. Many people are running from the responsibility of paying for the garbage they generate, and instead of giving it to the waste bin and the waste trucks, they rather keep it, and in our blind sight they dump it into the manholes. They think it is gone, but it's going somewhere else to create a problem for someone, to inconvenience someone else. So it's a whole attitudinal problem. We are trying our best. We have realized also that most of the culverts covering the manholes have been taken off by the citizenry, and the assembly is rebuilding them. But to be frank with you, we've rebuilt a lot of them. You go back to the site the next morning, and somebody are taking it out. Someone will stand and bath on the manhole. And when the sponge gets in, the person just walks away. Whatever gets in, they don't care. They just walk away. And it's creating a huge problem for the assembly. I will also plead with government as a matter of necessity and urgency to look at the whole sewer system of Tema again. Most of the tunnels are outmoded. It's over 70 years. Most of them have cracks in them. So the pipes need to be replaced. It is the whole of Tema, Committee 1, Committee 2, Committee 3, Committee 4, Committee 5, Committee 7, Committee 8, Committee 9. It's all over. On a daily basis, we always have such issues.
Wow. Now, I want to tackle this from the leadership side of the conversation. What punitive measures are there that the Assembly has put in place, and how is enforcement like? Because you see, for me, I think that when people get punished and they know that they will be punished for doing the wrong thing, they are less likely to want to do the wrong thing, you know. And I don't know also, I see a lot of CCTV cameras in Accra. What does Tema's situation look like? Do you have the layout of CCTV cameras the way we have in Accra?
Yeah, there are a couple of CCTV cameras around, but you see, these things happens in between houses where there are no CCTV cameras. I think last month, our environmental team, the TMA environmental team, embarked on house-to-house visitation to, summon those who have fields in their areas.
Yes.
It worked to a while. The TMA does not have a 24-hour surveillance on the citizenry. So just as TMA closes, the people get back to work. So I think we had a meeting 4 days ago to see if we can have a task force, an environmental task force, that will monitor 24 hours, will monitor all over the place to see this thing being stopped. We are also advocating, we'll go into the areas to do sensitizations to the citizenry. We'll talk to them advocacy so that people will desist from doing some of these things. The same garbage we put in our manholes at the end of the day comes back to us, and we complain and insult the Assembly, we insult the government, we insult everybody, but we don't insult ourselves because we think what we put in today didn't lock here, it's locked at someone else's residence. So just as your rubbish will get to someone will also come to you, and it will affect you. So if the people can change their attitude, it will go a long way to solve and help the issues. And then I also plead with the government, change their pipes for us.
Right, Franklin, so in the video, I saw a shot where there was a gentleman trying to dispose of rubbish in the, I think the Zoom Lion garbage container. I suppose that's the dump site temporarily before they come for the rubbish in general. So I was just wondering, looking at how that image is that how generally sanitation is tackled? Because even if the rubbish is collected and it's not disposed of properly, it can be taken back into the gutters or the drainage by wind, rainfall, or whatever. How is the general sanitation issue in Tema like being handled? Hello, Franklin, are you there? All right, we are having technical challenges trying to connect with him, but we'll try and do that and then get back onto the conversation if we are able to. So what I was talking about, I was just wondering, you know, when the rubbish collectors come around house to house to collect it, they take it to a particular dump site. And per what I saw in the video, I think is the market area, he would be able to tell us when he comes back on. A gentleman climbing onto like a riser to put the rubbish. But even there, you see that the refuse is overflowing, so there's some on the floor littering all over. And if we are looking at it, we are looking at the bigger problem, but I mean it takes steps to build up into a problem. So if that is what or the challenge they have with disposal of rubbish or managing sanitation as a whole, then it's also another problem. And I like the fact that he mentioned that they'll do a sensitization for the citizenry, because it's very important. If people have refused to use their common sense, then maybe trying to prompt them or drawing them back, bringing them back on track should be the way to go. And I like the task force part of it, because I am so up for it. If people have refused to use their common senses, let's put them back on track. If they have to pay fines for improper disposal of waste, we should make sure that
people should pay punitive fines.
Yes,
fines that will hurt them, that will make sure that they will not think of doing it again, because it was too painful the last time. to pay a whole 1,000 Ghana cedis for just throwing one bucket of rubbish that would have cost you maybe 20 cedis to dispose of, right? You're now paying 1,000 cedis because you disposed of it in the wrong way. That will send a message that don't try this. You know, for me, that's where it's at. That's what we need to look at. We need to look at the punitive measures. And Franklin has joined us back on the line again. Franklin,
Hi, Franklin,
welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes, sorry, the network is terrible.
That's okay. So I was asking you just before you went off that in the video we saw a gentleman trying to get onto a riser to dump off refuse. I suppose that's the market. You would be able to tell us.
So in Tema, we have a system where the waste truck goes around house to house to pick rubbish.
Okay.
So nobody is allowed to put rubbish at the roadside.
Okay, so after taking the rubbish, where do they take the rubbish to?
It goes to the dump site at Bone. But for the market, we put a waste bin there, as you saw.
Right.
So when it's full up, the truck comes to pick it up.
Good. So that's the market. And looking at that footage or that shot, you would see that the dump container is really full. It's overflowing, and there's rubbish all over the floor. So I was just thinking, how will you be able to manage this situation so that the rubbish doesn't have to overflow and litter all around? Because aside from people being very irresponsible to put their rubbish all over and inside the drain systems too, these some of these rubbish on the floor can be picked away by rainfall, wind and whatever, and will also clog the gutters.
Yeah, I understand your assertion perfectly well. On this particular day when the video was taken, I think 2 of our trucks had an issue when they were coming back to pick the containers. This has been a daily routine by the assembly. So this is not a major issue. This is just 1 out of 1,000 that happened because our trucks were broken down. But on a daily basis, every morning, the trucks goes to the market to pick the containers. Mostly we put 2 containers. So I think 1 truck took 1 and the other that had to come developed a problem. So within just about 1 hour, the whole place was full.
Anyway, but moving on, as you were solving the issue, how far have you gone to solve the issue? Because per the report, we saw that there were some works being done, but how far is progress?
Yeah, exactly that day, around 6 p.m., the problem was resolved.
Okay.
The tunnels were flowing. And if you go to the assembly now, you see that everything is working perfectly well. Well, we are just pleading to the citizenry to help us. We cannot do it alone as an assembly. We cannot do it in isolation. I've always been talking to my people, engaging them. Look, when it's raining, Jifa, when it's raining, you see people pour their garbage into the gutters.
Why are they not arrested?
Exactly.
That is also another question.
Yeah.
The task force we are forming will be mandated to do that, especially whilst we are approaching the rainy season. So we'll give them rain gadgets so that they will walk in the rains and then arrest whoever they see doing that.
Yeah, I think it's critical,
Yes.
frankly, and please extend our well wishes to the rest of the assembly, that we really wish them well. But honestly, our expectation is that they should crack the whip. You know, let's stop begging people to do the right thing. Let's stop imploring people to do the right thing. When you punish, they'll do the right thing. You punish 1 or 2, the rest will just follow and start doing the right thing. And I also believe that, and I don't know where this call should go, but I also believe that we need to have sanitation courts.
Yeah.
You know, just as we had fast track driver courts, we should have sanitation courts, and we should start prosecuting people, honestly, for this kind of. Because you see, everybody that dies from cholera is someone's fault. The decision they took to act in a certain way, you know, that has caused this. So, Franklin, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much. To bring to your notice, Tema Metro, we have a sanitation court that is working.
You do? Good.
Great.
Good.
Yes, we do have. We've taken a
good.
couple of people here to the courts and for the courts now.
Okay.
So we are cracking the whip.
You okay?
I think to intensify the preparation.
Yes, please, let's do
that. We have to take more people there.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's intensify.
And thank you very much for the opportunity given me. Thank you to the whole team of GH1.
ChannelOne TV.
ChannelOne
TV. Sorry, ChannelOne. My people are watching you.
Okay.
Recognize you daily. God bless you.
All right. God bless you. Have a great morning.
A great morning too.
All right, Kuku. So I think, well, as he said, the issue has been solved, but we hope that in a few weeks or in a few months,
one of the things has been solved, because there's several of these happening in different parts of Tema at the same time. You know,
it's really sad, but I like that they have a sanitation court.
It's important.
We shouldn't pamper people anymore.
No, let's stop it.
We shouldn't pamper
let's
anybody.
Deal with people. You know, because for me, I think that one of the things I have noticed in other jurisdictions where things appear to work. You see, we make it look as if, in this country, the people, they behave properly because they have more sense. No, it's not.
It is because
it's because there are laws that bite.
Place,
yes, the laws bite. Nobody wants to be beaten. Our laws don't bite anybody.
So you know,
unless somebody hates you or has an agenda against you, that's when you see the law biting. What kind of country are we building? We have to build a country that works for everybody. It works for the big man, it works for the smallest man, it works for everybody. That's an even system, a system of proper equity. That's how we should run it. We should run the country like that. You see, why should it be that because the person is a big man, so the law doesn't affect the person?
But if
and because you happen not to know anybody, and therefore they find you or they are jailing you because you don't know anybody. Honestly, that's not the kind of country we should be building. You know. Anyway,